champion beyond even what his kit just provides.
It does seem like NIP want to go more towards a stable composition that can potentially hover over objectives, at least with the Maokai to start off with. And this combo we've seen used so lethally. The poke that you get with the Jace, if you get anything ahead with this pick, but as well as the preemptive setup you get with the Maokai is so deadly. And on the other side, we do still have some very heavy meta picks available. Wukong, which was banned away in the second phase last time around, should be a big priority here to give Aki a little bit more breathing room.
It also gives you the ability to disengage from the Maokai ult because the Wukong clone will tank up one of the tendrils in the Nature's Grasp. That's very important. That's one of the big reasons we see Wukong particularly into Maokai as well. Despite him being a good champion in general, it's just another interaction which makes him really strong. Maokai Jace, a combo which buys a lot of space for the Shock Blast to come in. My issue here, though, is it's a good combo, but when you put the names OMG and NIP into this game, and you look at how NIP won Game 1, it was about them being proactive and able to play very aggressively on the map. This is more stand your ground, play keep away. Playing keep away versus OMG rarely works. They are very good at reaching you despite your keep away tactics. So even with these combos being meta and Invincible going back to the Gnar, another champion he's picked up time after time, I'm looking at OMG's champions and I think this is a much better place for them in Game 2 compared to that Game 1 draft.
Yeah. I will also just say this is a 6th Ahri play from Cream so far this play, and a 6th Gnar play from Invincible. So definitely leaning on comfort here for both sides in terms of a couple of their solo laners. But now we're getting into the second phase. We get that Malphite ban and the Rakan from NIP. On the other side, we have that Lucian ban. So rightfully so, taking away some of that 2v2 aggressive nature of Photic and Zhuo.
Okay, so yeah, that's worth noting actually. A lot of the time by this point of the game, you've got a lot of your bot lane champions locked in. So your primary duo is going to start getting taken away. The FLS, of course, so very, very strong. And this is a little bit of a worry in its own right for NIP now because you know that Shanji has a very wide champion pool. Banning out his champions in the second round is not going to have the same effect as banning away primary bot lanes because bot lane is such a powerful point on the map right now. As we were seeing in the interview from Angel before the game, if you get a lead in bot lane, you tend to win. So letting that FLS go through when you have no bot lane picks yourself locked in, it's fairly difficult to figure out what you're going to pick now in 4 and 5.
Hey, this is something that we've seen at least very heavily in week number 1 as a response to Aphelios, and something that when it gets off the ground running will actually, if we've seen, dumpster the Aphelios in the matchup. So going with a very heavy, momentum-based composition right now for NIP, it'll be countered at the moment by the Nautilus with a lot of that forward frontal engage and maybe a little bit of team fight sauce thrown in there from OMG.
This is the worry, right? Because the problem wasn't that there are 80 carries available. Jinx, great 80 carry. The question is, can you now 5th pick a support that allows you to, 1, lane into the Aphelios Nautilus? That's difficult in its own right. And then also survive a team fight versus the Wukong, the Ahri, and everything else. Because you look at the Aphelios Nautilus and you probably predict that Braum coming through. That's one of the last remaining supports that can buy you some space. Braum doesn't save you versus a cannon and a Wukong getting right on top of you because their ultimates aren't projectiles. You can stand on top of your Jinx, but you just die valiantly with them. You only have one exhaust to kind of take down multiple players. So I'm looking at OMG's comp now, and that 4-5, after the way that the draft came out, made it very difficult for NIP to pick a support that would satisfy laning phase and then also the team fights, which are going to be so important later.
And that's why I was so curious that they waited so long to grab these, but maybe some priority given elsewhere, wanting to run this kind of poke you down, engage into you while you're on an objective style composition and look for a front to back fight, where I think OMG have a lot of flexible options for themselves. And the way that Game 1 went, they had one option. It was make it to the late game. It feels like this time around they have a little bit more breathing room, as has kind of been the theme so far for them.
Yeah, well, OMG, they'd want a little bit more room than to just breathe. They want to find themselves in a very strong position in this game and slap back in Game 2. The way that OMG does tend to, they have themselves some iffy Game 1s to settle themselves in. It's one of the beauties of the LPL as a region. Best of 3s all day, every day. It gives you that ability to revisit some of these more difficult questions posed to you on the first time of asking.
So we saw questions answered by Angel in game number 1. He even was speaking about how important this lane matchup will be. We said at the very beginning how important him versus Angel, or Angel versus Cream, will be. And we saw a little bit of that go down in game number 1. Volatility is what I expected. Mobility is what we always get and what we got. And now we're looking at game 2 that Cream can try to bounce back in this one-on-one matchup, back on the Ahri, and especially trying to even up the odds here as we hit the Rift for game number 2. It's NIP in their home arena on their home Rift versus OMG.
You standing still, and we'll flash right on top for you. As it stands, big run towards this top side. Joao and Shadow looking to protect their top laner, who is continually falling down. No flash this time, remember. Shadow, he might be able to flash forward here.
They actually get this though with the big combo. It's the Slicing Maelstrom back, Invincible getting low, but he has that hop, and Shanji should go down here, will end up falling, but Aki with a double cleanup, but the Cyclone get whipped up in the storm of OMG. Joao will dodge out, but here comes PP God. Hits the dredge line, and this should be Cream wiping this one up as one more goes through. The fire will be lit under NIP. Abel in some trouble here. Abel will go down here as a return. NIP gets something as Angel actually gets the kill onto Abel.
Still a sizable victory for OMG. When left in isolation, we've seen Shanji do very well. One of the things we asked for from game 1 is, hey, we need to give some more agency to Shanji from the side of OMG. NIP said, no, we would like that to really not happen, as they send 3 people up there, but the timing's not quite there. The exhaust comes through to deny some of the damage. Can't exhaust a tower, so that one's a little bit awkward. And then the rest of the party come to play.
Also, I will just say, Joao, if he hits that Winter's Bite, the play comes a little bit differently. I still think Aki cleans up, but we also see that they've just taken the Rift Herald, and they're already looking top as Invincible doesn't have Meganar, and the CC chain should follow. The flash has already come out, but a dead little Gnar goes to Aki's pockets.
Plates in that mid lane. Full tower in the mid lane.
Abel, the response.
Die?
Oh, because of the Moonlight Vigil from the Severum. Speaking of driver's seats.
They're heading to...
oh, God.
Wow. They're heading to the morgue with Shadow's body. That's where they're driving. He's dead again.
Doing so much damage to Angel right now. Slicing Maelstrom signals the end potentially. One more Shuriken could do it, and there you go to the back of the head.
From game 1 getting absolutely slammed, but as we know they can do, they absolutely right the ship in game 2. And NIP, this was the kind of play that they would be absolutely be winning in that first game. They would have had a TF coming over to help them. They would have had some proactivity on the map, but it's just not the same style of composition. As you were saying earlier, if they get to stand and fight, buy themselves that time to poke people out, that's all great. That's awesome. That's what they can do. They are not built to face off against very fed, strong solo laners, starting to pick them off before they can group up.
Kennen may be small, but Shanji is big and flexing all over NIP. This can't happen, that's for sure. As Flash comes out from Invincible, there will be TP responses coming through as immediately Slicing Maelstrom. Cream is lighting him up too as Angel goes down. Invincible tries to get Meganar, misses the ulti, but just tried to get the activation, and he goes straight down to a double kill to Cream.
Clean sweep across the map. They get the top side fight into the mid lane push, into a bot side turret, into a dragon. It starts off with NIP trying to break one of these aggressive plays, at least stop OMG having the momentum on the map. But once again, they're doing this into all of the tools available from the hyper-fed solo laners of OMG, comboing up together through the top side of the map.
God, it just feels so good to be an OMG fan this game number 2. That's so big. They get the bear. Now they're looking for the fight as well. There's Shanji flank here as well. It wasn't even a flank. He just flashed over the wall there. Angel does get a trade back, but it's now front to back for OMG. They get engaged on from Shadow on the side. Cream getting a little bit low. Photic is trying to light him up, but Abel, he's stepping forward. He got so many chakras. Photic, he won't get the trade back down. And Angel running away for his life, trying to get saved by Shadow here. But OMG, with that Baron buff, get the resets, get back onto the map, and have complete dominion.
This is the problem with picking that Braum on that 5th pick. It's going to do fine against lane, against Abel and PP Gods, Aphelios and Nautilus. But what do you do against the Kennen? You can't body block that ultimate. The exhaust comes through, but at this point, the Kennen is so fed. And you can only be in one place at once. So while Kennen does fall, he does enough to buy some space to the rest of his team to slaughter the top side of the fight. Of course, he doesn't catch the carries completely. That's where the gold lead really comes into play. If you were any more even in this game, of course, Abel would probably die there. Doesn't happen to be the case, though. OMG walk away with a 1 fight, walk away with a Baron. Cream Feels like he's safe enough to be the person on the side lane splitting in 1-4. No flash on Shanji right now.
Okay.
Not able to completely go in.
There's that body blocking you were talking about earlier on in the game from Aki. We'll dodge out of the Super Mega Death Rocket. Goes right back in, though. That's a big Mega Nard, but they dodge out of it for the most part. Moonlight Vigil connects, and damage done! OMG! They actually get Photic trying to get something over there. Angel didn't dodge out of the dredge line, but it's OMG with unrelenting pressure here. They're just looking for the end right now. They're going to TP in. They still got 35 seconds on the Baron buff, and they're looking at the Nexus. OMG trying to push us to 3 games as his tradition. Lockdown comes on to Photic and goes golden, but the Nexus is in the eyes of OMG. They turn, they head straight to game 3, and we got a series, baby.
You cannot keep OMG down. Beat him in 1 game. Good luck doing it in the second. They slap back in game 2.